You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
I want to start with some genuine appreciation because the Flip Empire show just crossed over 1 million unique downloads since it was launched June of 2016. And that is just a credit and a testament to you. So if you're joining us for the first time, you picked one incredible episode to tune in. I hope that you stick with us for hopefully the next 653 episodes. And if you've been a supporter for any length of time, whether it was just a week ago or whether it was 6+ years ago, thank you so much. When I see that number, over 1 million unique downloads, it blows my mind, and give you all the credit. And because it's you are the reason that I've been hosting this show, and the fact that I've been blessed in so many ways, and it's opened up so many doors and opportunities and relationships, connections. I derive so much joy and fulfillment from hosting this show. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to host this show on this particular platform. So thank you. 1 million downloads. I'm so humbled. So with that said, I want to launch right into today's episode. I just hopped off a call, and one of the things I shared with some of our Ascend members is there's psychology behind starting a meeting on a high note. And one of the ways to do that is to start sharing some wins. So one of the things I want to encourage you with is whether you're on a Zoom and you're recording something, it's for a meeting, a podcast, you're giving a talk, start off with a win, with an appreciation, start off with some type of celebration. And it could be big or small, it could be personal or business. So one of the structure, the format that we've suggested to our mini Ascend squad is to always start with 2 or 3 quick wins, follow that up with an accountability update, get into a give and an ask, and then always end with takeaways, appreciation, action items, commitments. So I wanted to start today's podcast episode on a win because 1 million downloads is something to celebrate, and I want to celebrate it with you. So hopefully you hear the excitement in my voice. That's because of you. So thank you for supporting the show. With that being said, I want to go ahead and dive into a breakdown of a post in another community that I'm involved in with storage investors that my good friend Mike Wagner puts on. And in that particular forum, he posed a question and he said, what advice would you offer to investors who are searching for their first deal? Now, in this particular case, he's alluding to storage deals, but I wanted to break down some of the answers from some pretty smart people and share those with you, because whether you're looking for your first storage deal, multifamily deal, single family deal, or whether you're just getting started on a new journey or new path. I just recently had somebody reach out to me because they're going to be starting a podcast. And this person is extremely successful, has kind of reached the peak of the mountain, the pinnacle of the mountain in their particular field. And now they're diving into something they've never done before. So they reached out to me just to kind of get some best practices, to ask me some questions. So you can apply some of the answers that I'm about to share with you to anything you're doing. So if you're a veteran, if you're a seasoned pro and you've done hundreds and thousands of deals, don't tune me out just because the question was, what's the best advice you'd offer to an investor searching for their first deal? Take some of these answers because you can apply it to any area of your life. One of our Ascend members recently, or is in the process of signing up for a triathlon. An Ironman, I know is a lot more grueling, I guess is the word I'm looking for. This is going to be their first time doing that. And so they're diving into another where they have to learn about training and now nutrition. Like they got to be in peak optimal state in order to be able to complete this Ironman. So apply some of these answers, just take out the words first deal and apply it to anything that you set out to accomplish, anything you're doing, particularly if it's something that you have never done before, right? It's your first time doing something. So some of these are just quick 3, 4, 5 word answers. And then there's others. And then I'm going to end with what I shared. Basically, my advice was in 2 or 3 sentences. So we got feedback on this particular post, everything from just do it, the old Nike slogan. We had several said, just make offers, right? Their advice and their feedback was, they elaborated some, but the gist of it was make offers. I talked to somebody, this was probably 2-3 weeks ago, and they were sharing with me how they've been kind of frustrated because they're not getting the results they want. And I said, what are your numbers? What are your KPIs, right? How many leads have you generated? How many offers have you sent? How many appointments have you been on? What are the conversion, like just basic key performance indicators. And sure enough, their KPIs were weak at best. And I said, look, the good news is we know exactly why you're not getting the results you want. And the good news is that you could turn it around, right? You got to start tracking your KPIs. You got to significantly increase your volume. It's a numbers game, right? It's at bats. You want the more at bats, and that's a baseball analogy. The more at bats you get, the more opportunity you have to hit it out of the park. Some of the best home run hitters in history had the highest strikeout rate, but they also are some of the best home run hitters in the history of the game, right? Because they took cracks at it. You can never be the home run champ if you're not willing to risk striking out. And the same thing applies in business. The same thing applies in real estate. So just do it, make offers. One gentleman offered, a good buddy of mine, be persistent. There's deals out there. So regardless of what the market's doing, I don't care the narrative the media wants to put out there. I don't care about rising interest rates and all this type of stuff. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying that you don't have an awareness about it and that you don't understand how the market is changing. Regardless of what the market does, there's deals out there. Just yesterday, I had a deep dive day with an Ascend member. And at the end of it, he said something along the lines of, man, I don't know if you realize, but visualization and your belief systems drive everything. And really put some weight on the belief systems, right? Because I'm not sharing the full context of why he said visualization. And one of the things I was talking to him about was like, not just goal setting, but focusing on the activities, right? Like set the goals, but then focus on the rocks, focus on the micro actions that lead to the macro results. And I opened up my journal and I shared with him a page full of notes. And I said, look, most days, not every day, but most days I write down these goals and I read them. And I write them down and I read them as if they've already happened. And he kind of just sat back and looked at me. And I'm not breaking any ground here, but the way in which I was speaking about my goals, I spoke about them in past tense. Why? Because I have this unwavering belief that the goals are accomplished. They just haven't manifested in real life. Does that make sense? They haven't yet come to fruition, but the operative word is yet. There's a belief system in myself that those goals will be accomplished. They're aligned with my vision. They're aligned with everything I want in life and where I'm going. And I just have this unwavering belief that the goals are accomplished. They're done. In my mind, I see them, I feel them. It's happening no matter what. They just haven't actually yet happened. In other words, me crossing over that particular finish line is inevitable. It's just a matter of time. Why? Because of the way I've crafted my environment. I've made my desired outcomes inevitable in my mind. And then it's followed by activity. It's followed by action. So that kind of leads into another post here with regards to advice. They said, do the actions, send the offer. And then they had some more pointed advice that is more X's and O's type of advice that I won't share here, because really what I want you to walk away from is there's a theme in a lot of the feedback that was shared here. Another one, my good friend Chris said, don't sit on the sidelines, get in the game and you'll learn faster. Don't let fear hold you back, especially when all the resources you need are here waiting for you. Another gentleman said, hey, look, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it might take you some time to get your first deal. It took me more than a year. Basically, I was consistent, right? And so when I share earlier on this podcast and when I celebrate with you the win of just crossing over 1 million unique downloads, that's not because I'm special. It's not because of my accent. It's not because I have content where there's no way you can get this content anywhere else. Now, I might deliver it with my flavor and in a certain way, right? And I think that's part of maybe what makes it unique. And I might be more open and transparent and vulnerable than maybe some other host out there. But really what it boils down to is consistency. When I started this podcast, I wasn't committed to monetizing it. I wasn't committed to building a certain number of subscribers or followers. I was committed to the micro actions. I was committed. What I said when I did this was that I was going to be consistent with releasing 2 episodes every single week without fail, rain or shine, sick or not, 2 episodes are getting released every single week. And we fast forward now 6+ years, every single week, 2 episodes have been released. Notice I didn't say, hey, I'm going to monetize it by making X amount of dollars. Or I didn't say, hey, my goal is to build 1 million downloads one day. Those weren't my goals. I was focused on the actions. I was focused on the activities. That's really what it boiled down to. So become the type of person that's more hyper-focused on the activity, on the action, and less on the actual goal, right? And I think the same applies here, whether you're looking for your first storage deal, your first real estate deal, you're looking to run your first or complete your first Ironman, whatever it is, set the goal, focus on the micro actions, and then just remain consistent, stay with it. And then just a couple more. One gentleman said, just keep calling, never stop calling, right? So I think that you can boil that down under the persistence category. And then what I shared, and I'm going to read it for you verbatim, act as if you couldn't fail. Do that enough and you'll eventually succeed. Prove me wrong. And I dropped a little wink emoji. Act as if you couldn't fail. Do that enough and you'll eventually succeed. Prove me wrong. And that's what I want to end today's episode with, regardless of what it is that you're after. No matter how many times you failed, no matter how many times you've gotten knocked down, get back up. Have the belief system that you will succeed. Have the belief system that the goals have already been accomplished in your mind, even though maybe they haven't, even though that number of dollars you're after hasn't yet hit your bank account, right? Even though you necessarily haven't scaled the business, closed this many deals, whatever, taken your company public, whatever it is you're after, achieved X amount of passive income, whatever it is you're after, it doesn't matter. Believe that it's happened, see it, feel it, follow by doing it. Act as if you couldn't fail, do that enough, and I promise you, eventually you will succeed. Focus on the micro actions, stay consistent, and I think the macro results are inevitable. That's what I want to leave you with on today's show. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do that. Head over to flipempire.com/podcast, and then you'll be notified every Monday and Thursday when new shows are released. And with that said, I'm extremely grateful to have you in my world. Thank you for contributing to all the downloads that the show has gotten. Here's to many more. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. One last thing before you go, if you have been listening to the show for a while and or you have been getting value from the show, I would be 100% honored if you would share this show with a friend, or maybe share it with somebody that you think could benefit from this. It's my mission, it's my cause, it's my purpose through Flip Empire to impact and touch people's lives, to help people and in their businesses. So it would be an honor if you would be willing to share this episode. And one last thing, make sure that you're subscribed so that you get notified every Monday and Thursday when shows get released. I look forward to connecting with you on the next one. Until then, have a great day.